Actuaries use their math skills for good. They take on the world's greatest challenges, reducing risk and increasing opportunity. And that means the only thing higher than their pay is their job satisfaction.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. This is Later with Mo Kelly, and I am Tawala Sharp, filling in for Mo Kelly. Happy to be with you for the next 3 hours. The crew is here. Foosh is in the building. What it do? Ronner.
T.
Any middle fingers today?
Not for you, Tawala Bear.
Oh,
see?
Here we go.
There we go.
Here we go.
So, Ronner's, sporting a Ronner is going to stay, because if he's that quick to call you Tawala Bear.
What? That's a term of affection.
It is a term of endearment, yes, that super producer Kayla, who is producing for me tonight, introduced to the building, and Ronner just wants to make sure that you all know.
Well, maybe we're unaware of the influence she has over me. She's here today. She isn't often when we do our show, and I think it's because of her powerful presence that I had to say Tawala Bear.
I appreciate that, Ronner. It's very true. I am pretty powerful, and Tawala is the best bear in the world, so I understand.
The best bear in the world. I love it. We are off to a fun start. And interestingly enough, Ronner, you came in and you were in very good spirits, so I take it that your trip in was not crazy or insane.
No, I don't need to remind you that we had the Bataan death drive a day or two ago, and I had to call and tell Crozier to be ready to do 7 o'clock because I didn't think I was going to make it. And you had something similar.
No, I had the exact similar. I literally thought I was going to have to just turn around and go home because I thought that there was no way on earth I would get here. And I thought the same was going to happen today. I was ready for it because not all schools are out on spring break yet, but at least my school where I work, we are on spring break. And I thought maybe there's some more schools that are off or not on the LAUSD calendar as well. So I was like preparing for spring break madness. But no, it's just me. And it's actually not really a spring break because when I was thinking about it this morning as I was dropping my daughter off, I said, wait a minute. If your spring break is not the same as mine, that means all next week while I'm off, I'm still going to have to be getting up early in the morning to drop you off.
Lucky you. You love that, don't you?
Man, look, let me tell you.
You're an early morning type.
Not on any planet. There isn't even a planet that we know of in our solar system where I would get up in the morning. That planet doesn't exist, and it sure enough doesn't exist on this here planet we're on. I am not a morning person. I abhor getting up in the morning. I abhor the neighbors, roosters that go off. All of that.
What? You have neighbors with roosters?
I don't know where it's at, but you hear it in the distance, and when it's like real quiet out there, and you hear that in the distance. I feel like, is that on purpose? Is that a sound effect?
I don't want to initiate anything that's going to get you into trouble, but I'll just say, those roosters are some good eating. And if they go missing,
are they though? Rooster meat? I don't know.
Yeah. Try it. Try it with some breading and deep fry it.
A nice rooster meat sounds well. If the neighbor's rooster,
deep fry the neighbor's pets is what I'm suggesting.
If the neighbor does come up missing, we all know that it was by way of the suggestion and supreme influence of Mark Ronner.
My hands are clean.
Okay. Talking about the roads, I was looking at a few stories on the way in that has to do with our drive, our commute, and just being in vehicles here in Southern California, because this is not the East Coast where you can hop a train and get anywhere you want without the use of a car. No, out here, we rely on cars. And it's interesting because in a state where at one point our sunsets were beautiful only because of the smog caused by cars, it seems here in California, California's clean air vehicle decal program could soon be coming to an end. So my question, first of all, is will that mean that people are just no longer going to care about clean air vehicles? Who knows? But the clock is running out on California's Clean Air Vehicle Decal Program. You may have seen these colorful stickers. They're on the back of vehicles that are riding in the HOV lanes. Well, the program allows vehicles that meet specific emission standards to use the carpool lanes regardless of occupancy, if you have that sticker. Now, it seems that with the passing of AB 267, a bill authorized by someone who hates driving and hates cars, Assembly Member Greg Wallace, who must be from the East Coast, they are going to be bringing this program to an end. Now, look, it may not be Mr. Wallace's fault altogether, but really and truly, this is something I think to myself, Mr. Wallace, if you want us to continue to have clean air and really abide by these clean air standards that have to be maintained by getting those stickers, then you need to keep the program going, good sir. You need to keep the program going, or it's going to be back to us having those beautiful, deep red, smoggy sunsets. Now, they used to be beautiful growing up. They really were. I did not know that we were literally breathing in tar. I didn't know. And that's gotten better since we started practicing clean emissions and all that kind of good stuff. So whatever, that may be coming to an end. But also, California is exploring getting rid of the gas tax and replacing it with a road charge program. And I know, Mark, I saw your eyebrows furrow a little bit.
Well, I was thinking, have you seen these side-by-side photographs of the sky in L.A. then and now, and how insanely different it is?
Yes. I don't want to go back to the then.
Why would anybody?
Because there are certain people who just, they can't see the forest for the trees.
You're really not going to be able to.
And you're not going to be able to see the buildings for the cement or the bricks. Because if you get rid of these programs and say you want to take away all the incentives for car sales and all those things, that's going to change. And that's going to change the climate when we start exploring ways to get rid of the gas tax and instead put charges on roads, making it where, because we are driving everywhere, this also is going to add to this thing called smog, and it's going to make it really, really hard to drive. But the biggest story that I saw having to do with driving, and it's actually more having to do with parking. And this is a story, when I saw it, I said to myself, big whoop. You deserve it if your department goes under. And I'm sorry if you are a meter person, but right now in Los Angeles, there is a huge issue happening within the meter collection realm. Okay. Right now, meter collections are down, and it has a lot to do with the COVID programs, which said, like, look, man, park wherever you need to. We're not going to be sending meter people after you. Yes. And a lot of money went away. But right now, it seems that the collection of parking fines and giving out tickets has gone down to the point where now the department is in danger. There's a lot of meter people who have retired, rightfully so. Get out of here.
Meter people? You can't call them meter maids anymore?
No, they're meter people.
Meter humans.
They're meter humans. They are no longer maids because they are not serving us unless they are serving us a healthy dose of blank you blanking meter person.
Let me tell you.
Look, I'm sorry. Look, meter people, I'm just telling you that you have quite possibly the most hated position on planet Earth.
You are exactly right. You've got to have some healthy self-esteem to go into the meter human profession, because is there anybody on Earth that people are less happy to see when you show up, apart from like a dentist or a process server? Nobody's happy to see you.
They are awful people. I was leaving Target actually yesterday, and a guy was scanning my license plate, and I said, I'm leaving. He's like, I'm not stopping you. You're going to get a ticket in the mail.
You see?
I said, bleep you. You got so much power, sir.
This is why when I read that they are suffering financially and that, you know, the meter department is under danger. Look, you know what? Take the whole building and demolish it. Okay, take all those little white cars and put self-driving taxi signs on the top of them, and let's get more cars on the road taking us to and fro. And maybe we won't have to park, because I promise you this. The very next time I hear someone tell me, I'm sorry, I'm already in the process of writing it. The ticket's got to go.
Yeah, can't stop that.
I will lose my mind. I cannot stand the meter profession. I don't even know why they created it other than to piss us off here in Southern California, because I don't know anywhere else in the country where anyone faces this level of meter harassment.
You have to wonder about the psychological profile that they look for in meter patrol people, because, you know, with like Delta Force or CIA or something, they look for orphans, that kind of thing. What kind of person becomes a meter human?
They probably look for people who have on their resume, I'm okay with kicking puppies.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think so. Lord have mercy. It's KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. This is Later with Mo Kelly. I'm Tawala Sharp in for Mo Kelly. And if you think Mo has an issue with beaches and the water and whatnot, hold my beer. Because Mo is someone who would get out on a cruise over the open water. Me, up until going on my first cruise with Mo and his family, I would not get out over dark water for anything. I don't even like getting into a swimming pool and looking down at the deep end. I don't know if it was traumatic Jaws watching when I was a kid. I have no idea where it came from, but I don't like deep, dark water. I don't like deep water, period. Okay. And no, I can't swim. So that could have like some sway in my feelings. But even still, here in Southern California, the notion of getting in this poop-filled water is next to insanity. Okay, next to insanity when you are dealing with poop tides and all the filth that is in our water here. The water here in Southern California is not brown because it's dirty. It's brown because of what's going down, all the waste and bacteria that just flows into our ocean. How do we know? Because once again, this is almost every weekend where health officials are warning us against ocean water at several beaches across Southern California, Los Angeles, Orange County, all that. You might as well just say, stay out of the water. Don't say this beach and that beach, but this beach over here is okay. No, just stay out of the water. Okay. Believe it or not, the ocean water isn't supposed to be a dark, opaque, filthy color. Okay, I've been to Miami and I've seen the blue-green beaches. I've been to islands in Puerto Rico and Jamaica where the water is clear. You can see down to the sand all the way through. And it's like, that's what ocean water is supposed to look like?
Nothing floating in it? Is that the official NOAA term for it? National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration? Poop tides?
Poop tides, yes.
Poop tides, okay.
Yes, they have adopted poop tides, and it's not seaweed that's catching your leg, good sir. It's the filthy poopage. Okay. The LA County Department of Health has issued warnings for beaches from Mother's Beach and Marina del Rey, all the way over to Las Flores State Beach in Santa Monica. Look, just all of the beaches, stay out of the water. Now, for me and my beach water conspiratorial mind that there may be something else going on in the water, because these blue-green waters that people are like, oh my God, the water is blue and it's green and it's glowing. Glowing beach water is not a good thing. I know people say, no, it's when the algae and the after effect of the water. No. Look, keep your scientific reasoning out of here. I don't want to hear it. If you want to go out and get in that blue-green algae water, that's obviously having a connection with all these seals and sea lions that are coming up on the shores and just sick. And literally, they're staring at the water. Okay. When you have sea creatures on a beach and they would rather sit on the beach rather than go back in the water, I don't want to hear your rationale, because you know what? If you don't speak actual seal, all you're doing is guessing. Okay. These are guesses and hypotheses of why the seals and all these creatures along the beaches right now are staying out of the water. And we're having all these deep water fish floating up and all this kind of stuff. Whales getting beached because they're choking on the filth in the water out here, and they don't like it. It is grotesque. Okay. They still don't even know what to do with all these beach seal lions and mountain or sea lions and seals that are in Huntington Beach and Manhattan Beach. They're all over in the beaches over in Orange County. It's where they're all hanging out and they're looking at the water and they're barking saying, hell no. You hear, they're saying, hell no. That's what they're saying about the water. Okay. But imagine this. Imagine this. Here in Southern California, with our water where the bacteria levels, pure bacteria, which is way too high for any human to go into. Imagine that water coming at you 100+ miles an hour. Imagine a tsunami of poop coming
Keep your mouth closed.
Keep your mouth closed and your cheeks tight. Ugh. Because when a tsunami hits Southern California, it's not going to be poop tides. It's going to be a poop-nami. A poop-nami. Yes, right now, officials are cautioning residents to check whether they live in a tsunami zone ahead of Tsunami Preparedness Week. Yes, there's actually a week. Starting tomorrow, all the way through next week is Tsunami Preparedness Week here in Southern California. And yes, the chances of a tsunami hitting us anytime soon are probably, next to zero. But all these little mini earthquakes that we've been having that everyone wants to laugh at. Oh, Tawala, you and the earthquakes. What if we have one in the water that we just can't feel? All right. Our little meters don't go off and that water sets off the tsunami. Okay. And sends that poop coming at you 100+ miles an hour.
A liquid code brown. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants it, Mark. I mean, there's no way you're going to want to clean up the beaches. California will be done if we get hit with the tsunami. And it's interesting that they say, make sure you are monitoring and checking if you live in a tsunami area. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do for Tsunami Week? Are you going to pack up and move somewhere? No.
Go inland. Get away from the beaches. You see the waves going the opposite way. You get in your car. You head to the,
There's no places to stay
mid-city.
right now. Right now, those of us who've been impacted by Eaton and the Palisades, we're already staying everywhere. So there's nowhere for people to go.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, but remember when you were a child and you would make fun of relatives who kept the plastic covering on couches?
Yeah.
Leave it on. Just leave it on if you're in the area.
If you're in one of these areas, yeah. Yeah. But now you can go on and check. I did not grab the website, but you can go on and check if you do live in one of these tsunami areas. I believe it's not tsunami.com. It's not our producer, Kayla. It's not. I thought it was, and I think I accidentally deleted it where you could go and check. I'm talking and stalling so I can give you time to look it up if you didn't know that, Kayla. Yes, I know you're typing.
Did somebody rush right in and hog tsunami.com so that the legit people couldn't have it?
Maybe because if Kayla says that it's tsunami.com, I will fall out.
Got this great idea for a restaurant. Guess what we're going to call it?
It is conservation.ca.gov/CGS/tsunami/maps.
Boom.
Bam.
That's kind of a mouthful.
Or tsunami.com. So I'm sure it'll take you there as well.
I love it. All right. It's KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And yesterday, we talked about possibly moving to Disney's villa in the Coachella area. And no, none of us can afford it. But thanks to Fannie Mae, we may actually be able to get ourselves into a condo right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but with the way I'm looking at this, where it says that Fannie Mae's blacklist has 438 California communities with availabilities, I'm thinking that we may have something. So we'll look into that on the other side.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Tawala Sharp filling in for Mo Kelly. Mark, I know that you are in the market for a place.
Well, I'm kind of looking, and when the right place comes along that I can afford and live indoors, then I'll jump.
Yeah. Super producer Kayla, are you still looking, or are you comfortable where you're at?
Oh, no, I love my place. I'm very comfortable for now, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Foosh? You comfortable where you're at?
Comfortable. Yeah. Comfortable.
Yeah. You see, that response was a little uncomfortable. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
No, I'm comfortable.
A bit lackluster.
Yeah, it's like,
In fact, he's lying. I'm declaring him a hostile
I
witness.
was to say like that.
Yes.
That was not a comfortable response.
I'd like to get. I'd like to be a homeowner, but right
Gotcha.
now
Okay.
I'm comfortable.
You're okay, cool.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
And I know, being from and growing up in and living in the Pasadena, Altadena area, I can tell you this. Every single person that I know growing up is looking for a place, right? There are many who would love the opportunity to stay in Altadena, and there are so many different initiatives, so many different groups working within the Altadena area to help rebuild the city, to help people stay in their homes. Everyone who wants to, that can. I mean, I went to a kind of a town hall, so to speak, put on by none other than Beyonce and her mother. They have an organization that they have started called Be Good. And this organization right now, they have been doing God's work here in Southern California. And while acknowledging the need in Palisades, what touched Beyonce and her mother the most is the destruction of Altadena and the history of Altadena and its relevance in Southern California for Black home ownership and the like. And neither of them are from Pasadena. Yes, they're in Texas, and there is a Pasadena, Texas, but neither of them are from the city. All right. But when they saw the destruction and they saw what was happening, they came together and they said, we are going to put our own money. We are going to use our pool. No one is telling Beyonce no. Okay, they may tell Tawala no, but no one is telling Beyonce no. So Beyonce is going to go out and get the money. She's going to go out and get the money. She's going to go out and get the resources, and she's going to have people coming together, and we are going to help this city every which way that we can. And what I saw them do just for this town hall and for everyone that was in there was nothing short of miraculous. Okay, I've seen a lot of politicians on the West Coast talk about what they're going to do for whether it be Eaton or the Palisades. And I've seen little to nothing happen. The movement has been slow as far as what it should be, in my estimation. But to see someone like Beyonce and her mother come out and say, here's what we're doing. We are going to keep our word, and we are going to take care of all of you. What I saw, again, in there was nothing short of amazing. And I've met Beyonce, I don't know how many times in my career. I've had her on concerts, had her on shows, and off air, I'll even tell you a funny personal Beyonce story. But yes, I can never say anything bad about Beyonce, not because of what she did for my family. This is not a sponsorship. This is not me getting paid to say anything good about Beyonce. It just hit my mind as I'm looking at the availability of condos by way of Fannie Mae. It just hit me about what Beyonce has done for us in the Altadena area and what she's doing here in Southern California. I'm like, she doesn't know any of us. She doesn't know any of us, doesn't have to do anything, but still is stepping up to do so. So I never had anything bad to say about Beyonce, but you will never hear a cross word come out of my mouth ever about her or her mother, because they are about it. And they didn't have cameras there. They didn't have, a bunch of press there. Tina knows. She came out, she said, hey, look, Beyonce wants to be here, but she is preparing for her tour, which she is. But here's what we're doing right now. And it was like one of those, like, man, everyone in there was crying because of what they did. And so when I think about that, and I think about how hard it is right now for just those of us here in Southern California to even fathom owning a home, it's almost as if this state is set up for us to not own a home. It's almost set up for us to stay in an apartment forever, because apartments, most every apartment is on a monthly basis is costing you what you could be putting towards a house, but none of us can get together enough to put down on the house to get out of the apartment in the first place. So it's like this rat race that we're in this situation where it's just, it is rubbing two nickels together here in Southern California is rough. And I get it. I know cost of living is a lot cheaper elsewhere. When I was in Erie and they were charging us $950 a month for a palatial estate, it was like one of those, like, every time I paid this year, I was like, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Like the police are going to come and say, you've been living in a drug den and, this house is being, they're using this to funnel money through. I said to myself, this is crazy how much it costs to buy a house in Southern California. And yes, Fannie Mae, they have this blacklist where good news, there is an inventory of available properties for sale, and that inventory list has grown. The bad news, again, is that these properties are still touting their highest prices ever with the highest interest rates ever and heavy buyer competition because land is finite here in Southern California. It's all the deserts, they're not building out there. They're just building up in areas like that. So, yes, Fannie may have more places and they may have places available. But Mark, if you had the opportunity right now to move into a place that could cost you some $6,000-7,000 a month, are you doing that tomorrow?
Or I'd be living in my car. And in fact, do you remember when we spoke last night off the air, I told you that I'd been looking into people living in their cars, and more and more people who are working full time are forced to live in their cars because of how insanely expensive housing is. And you can't rule out the factor of a private equity buying up real estate and houses. In LA, nearly 20,000 people are living in their cars right now.
Right now. People who have full-time jobs.
Well, that's not all full-time job people.
No.
But it's nearly 40% of the homeless. They're people living in their cars in LA.
I'm telling you that there are people that I personally know who have full-time jobs. Okay, these are not, don't hear what we're saying and think, well, they got to do better than working at McDonald's. No. I know people who are working within the high fives and the low to mid sixes, and they have decided to just tough it out and live in their car.
Yeah,
gym membership, and that's what it's going to be.
And there are no accidents. This is not a thing that just happened by accident. Go on ahead. I'm reading multiple things at the same time here.
Yeah.
Trying to wrap my head around this. But the fact that you work a full-time job and you can't live in a house seems absolutely through the looking glass insane to me.
Yeah. And it's like when I saw this list of condo availabilities, published by LA Daily News and the reporting on what Fannie Mae's organization has put out. And I'm like, hey, this is great. But this information is literally, it's not even worth the paper that it's printed on, because not a single one of us who all work full-time jobs. I work 2 full-time jobs. And it's one of those things where still here in Southern California, we cannot go out and buy a house.
Well, here's the thing. We know that roughly 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, which in and of itself is a little hard to swallow. Not that I don't believe it, but that it shouldn't be. And so you get into this trap where, let's say you have to move into a place where the average rent here is $3,000 a month. That doesn't leave a lot of working people a lot of money left over to save and put away. And then when you factor in that a huge percentage of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 for an emergency expense, you're not buying a house.
You're not buying a house. And if you do, then that's all you have. You don't have anything in that house. You're no longer driving your car. You are walking to work because every dime you make is going into the house. And you're talking about a small house. $3,000 a month. You're talking about a very, very small house. And most apartments right now, like, they're looking at like $3,500 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. I'm like, almost made me curse. All right.
Don't do that.
No, it's KFI AM 640. I got to go. Cool down. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. This is Later with Mo Kelly. Tawala Sharp, producer of Later with Mo Kelly, holding it down for Mo. He will be back on Monday. I hope he gets a rested weekend after filling in for Bill Handel. And hopefully Hopefully it's knock on some wood here. He is not called to fill in on Monday or the rest of the week. No, I think Chris Merrill is filling in, or maybe Saavedra. One of them. Look, someone will be in for Handel, and Mo will be back on Monday, and we'll be back to it next week. We will have the Name That Cult Classic movie game. Tonight we do not. We do not have a Ronda report. We do not have a Friday Nights with Nautica. We just have you and me together for the next couple hours.
Intimate.
Yes. Touch your radio. Touch yourself. All right. Look, in talking about housing and the situation in Altadena, I almost forgot that there was a couple of things I did want to make sure you were aware of. One is that FEMA has extended the deadline to apply for wildfire disaster assistance up until Monday, the 31st. All right. Monday, March 31st is the absolute end date deadline to apply for FEMA assistance, to apply for an SBA loan. Find yourself a FEMA help center and make sure you apply if you are a victim from either the Palisades or Eaton wildfire or any of the wildfires that ran through Southern California in January. Please, please, please apply. You can go online and at disasterassistance.gov, which is the fastest option. You can use the FEMA app available at the App Store or at Google Play. You can call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. Once again, the FEMA helpline is 800-621-3362. Or you can visit a disaster recovery center, and for locations, you can visit DRC location or DRC locator. I would say visit the disaster recovery center in person so you can have someone help you navigate the process, because it is a lot. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy. And if you don't have someone on the inside helping you find your way out, it can be daunting. Also, one more deadline before we end this hour. The deadline is approaching for fire victims to choose debris removal methods. Okay. Residents impacted by the Palisades and Eaton wildfire have until the same FEMA date, March 31st, to decide how they will remove debris from their properties. Now, our mayor, Karen Bass, is urging all homeowners impacted by the Palisades fire to opt into debris removal through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which is free. Bass is also announcing a new emergency executive order to help expedite the rebuilding process and to protect against future disasters. And that's great. Whatever you do, make sure you choose a method now. We do not want you to be stuck trying to take care of that yourself. I promise you, it is insane. And I am happy to announce that I was recently in my neighborhood the other day. We were going about and trying to help, just not help, but we were going through our place and cleaning out stuff, really throwing away a lot of stuff. Had to go through that kitchen, and God, that was a task. And that's just the first room, going through and cleaning out that fridge with all that stuff that had spoiled, all the stuff in the cabinet. It was horrible.
No.
And so that was a thing. But while there, I saw trucks moving nonstop. These big trucks were hauling debris up and down the street, and it was really amazing to see. And there was construction crews around the corner from, but I can see all the way around the corner now. I can see all the way onto the next block over, them excavating and digging out the debris and getting rid of it. And I believe right now on our block, I believe there's 4, maybe 5 houses that have been cleared away. And seeing that, and seeing these places just stripped away, I wish I just had a time-lapse camera that I could just put and just sit in. It could just record all of the taking away and then, eventually the rebuilding. But it is an amazing thing to see. Just make sure you're not the one paying for debris removal. Contact the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and set your date to have them come and help you with that removal, or not help you, but get rid of it, because you don't want to do it yourself. I promise you that.
I'll have some information on that in the newscast at the top of the hour. Is it true in your observation that things are going faster than predicted?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Shockingly. At first, I thought it was going to go super slow, just looking at the landscape and what they had to do. But seeing how quickly they've gotten through these houses, even on just our street, it is amazing. It is amazing how quickly they are moving.
That's impressive. And a little scrutiny will tend to light a fire under your seat.
Yes, right under your ass.
Thank you for that.
This is KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
The more you know, the easier it is to avoid the idiots around you.
KFI
and KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.